The first thing we're going to review today is if a slope is positive or negative. So think about going on a roller coaster. The experience going up is positive. You're not as scared. So if you see the slope going up like this picture, that means the slope, which is the number attached to the x right after the equal sign, is positive. Now, think about the way down on a roller coaster, especially if you're scared of heights like I am. The way down is a negative experience. That's when I'm really scared. So if the slope is down like this one, then the slope, again, the number in front of the x, is going to be negative. Now, let's practice graphing when given an equation in slope-intercept form. So the first number I always look at is the y-intercept, so the number after the x. That tells me where to put my first dot. So this is a -2. So I'm going to put a dot on -2 on the y-axis. And my dots might be a little off. Okay, now we're going to go into slope. So in this particular case, there's no number in front of x. So I need to put a pretend 1 in there. So I have a -1, and we know that slopes always need to be a fraction. So if it's ever a whole number, you put a fraction bar with a 1 under it. Okay? So the first number, remember, tells you to go up or down. So I see it's a -1. So a -1 tells me to go down 1. And the positive 1 at the bottom tells me to go the right 1. So remember, rise over run. Negative means down. Positive at the bottom means right. And then you're going to keep going. You're going to go down and over 1 and do another dot. Down and over. You're going to do the same slope all the way. And at the end, you connect the dots. Let's graph another equation where the slope is already a fraction. So my first step is still the same. I look for the y-intercept. It's a -1, so my first dot goes on -1 on the y-axis. Okay, now I see that it's already a fraction. That's awesome. I don't need to make it a fraction. But I see a negative out front. That confuses me. I don't want to use the negative twice, so I'm going to cross it out and just put it with the top number. So now I have a -1 on top and a 2 at the bottom. So the top tells me to go up or down. So a negative number tells me to go down 1. And again, I start at my first dot. So I go down 1. Positive 2 means I'm going to go to the right 2. 1, 2. And I put my dot. I'm going to do that again. Down 1. Over 2. Put another dot. You're good right now with 3 dots, but if you want 4, remember, you go to your original dot, which is right here. And you could do the opposite. Instead of down 1, you could go up 1. Instead of going to the right 2, you could go to the left 2. And remember, these should always be perfectly straight lines. So if it's not, you know you did something wrong. You connect the dots, make the arrows. This next graph is a little blurry, but that's okay. We'll work with it. So the first thing I notice is there's no y-intercept. There's no number after the x. So we always have to have one. So if I ever notice this, I put a +0. So now I have a y-intercept, so that tells me my first dot will be at the 0 on the y-axis, which is actually just the origin. So I'm going to put my first dot there. Then I notice my slope is not a fraction, and it always has to be a fraction. So I put the fraction bar with the 1 underneath it. Now, remember, the top number is up and down. The second number is left and right. So the +2 tells me to start at my original dot and go up 2. +1 tells me to go to the right 1. And remember, you'll always be going to the right on the bottom number, so don't confuse yourselves. All right, I'm now going to start at the dot I just made and do the same thing. Up 2, over 1, up 2, over 1. And you connect those dots. That's it.